Great experiences build great leaders. Great leaders build great teams. This is Building Great Sales Teams.
All right, guys, welcome back to Building Great Sales Teams. I've got an amazing podcast episode for you guys today. I've got John Ruff. John is the owner and CEO of Ruff Ready Moving, a Mayflower company. They were awarded the West Coast fastest growing moving company in 2018, 19, and 21. John is also a business consultant and coach, in addition to being the partner and vice president of Clothing and Armor. He's also, on top of all that, the host of Keep It Moving podcast. John, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Nothing much, man. Just rocking and rolling here. John, let me ask you. I'll kick it off with this. I saw a recent Facebook post from you, and you talked about many business owners being too meek and timid. You know, with this post, we always see that happens every now and then. Somebody that isn't posting, isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they come back to posting. They're like, "Oh, I was hustling in silence." You know what I mean? And so, let me know your thoughts on that, because it was a great post.
I mean, you know, a lot of people do that, right? And it's for different reasons. They don't want to put their business out there. They feel it's too personal, right? But for guys like me, I mean, the last 7-8 months, I really have been getting into it every day with my posting and just informing people, motivating, inspiring. And people like me get intimidated because, you know, you get slammed online 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. You get gun shy, right? And it's like, you just have to get over that, right? As long as you know you're acting with integrity in your business. If somebody wants to be a Karen, let them be a Karen. And just educate them.
I couldn't agree more. And and that's the issue. Is it's kind of like golf, right? Like you post and you put it out there, and you know that you're operating with integrity. You're putting the real stuff out there. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what people want to hear all the time. Sometimes they just want to hear the fun stuff, the hero story, all that good stuff. So you're putting yourself out there, and then one person messages you, hasn't liked or commented on your stuff, hasn't like interacted with you before. They're like, "Hey man, I've been following you. I appreciate what you're putting out there. I'm going through the same thing. Thank you for giving me some ideas on how to get out of it." And that's that perfect swing, and it just drops next to the hole, right? And you're like, "Crap, I'm never gonna stop playing golf again." Same thing with this. Same thing with this, I feel like. So no, I definitely wanted to highlight that post because it was a great post. And I think, having business owners listen to this show, having sales leaders and everybody listen to this show, I think they're worried about posting online. Sales has a negative connotation, but I think if you're operating in integrity and you're sharing that journey, you're going to have a huge impact from it.
Absolutely. The best thing for me is when I get a direct message or somebody comments on something and says, "Man, you motivated me to start my business," or "You changed my mindset. It helped me change my life situation." That makes it worth it. And you're changing people's lives. It's amazing what it can do.
Couldn't agree more. So I would love to hear more about, because this is the first time I think you may have mentioned it to me when we talked in person at a Flying Friday, but you're in the soft body armor business. Now, is this more for like your general consumer, like me, that I can go and purchase this, or are you looking at more government entities and law enforcement?
Well, both, right? It's still a little bit in the startup phase. We're waiting for our government certification, which,
Okay.
Federal government takes forever. And I kind of stumbled into it, right? Through, I have a lot of real estate connections, right? They deal with people that are moving every day. So one of my top clients, actually, he got an opportunity to partner with the owner of Clothing and Armor. And I looked at the product and I said, "There's no way that stopped bullets. Get out of here." And then he took me out to the range and I saw what it did and how lightweight and thin it was. And I'm like, "All right, give me the paper," So we've been doing that for a few years now. And the government red tape's just been insane. But like anything else, you push through. I got a couple big government agencies that want large orders when that day comes. And it's been an exciting journey, something totally different, right?
Yeah.
Usually you get into something affiliated with, your main business, but
Hmm.
it's been a really good business. I met some really good connections that have helped my moving company as well through that.
So let me ask you, and this, it happened to me. I was 3 years into my business. We were doing 3 to 4 million. It was doing really well, and I decided, oh, I've got this one figured out. Let me put that on autopilot and let me start another one, right? And
Hmm.
it ended up hurting my main thing, right? How did you avoid that from happening? What were you able to do there?
Well, like you train great sales teams, right? I trained a
Hmm.
great team to run my moving company,
Hmm.
and it gave me that extra time,
Boom.
right? But it's a balance. It's been more sweat equity with me for that. It wasn't,
Mhm.
ton of money out of pocket. But time is our most valuable asset, right? So I've definitely been putting the time into that company, and um, it's going to come into fruition really well. It's going to be very successful, and I'm excited about it.
No, I love the product. I love the idea of it too. Me and my wife were on a late night walk last night. We're way out in the country, and there's a lot of like illegal immigrants coming through our area because we're close to the border. And so, we're walking or whatever, and I'm messing with my belt loop, fixing my gun, and she's like, "Why'd you bring your gun?" And I'm like, "Why would I not? It's dark outside. Like." We're out in the country, so there is no light. You know what I mean? And you're walking. I have a vest and a reflector and some light on it and everything in case there's a vehicle coming. But I always want to be ready, and that's that situation in which I'm not going to put on like a full, plated body armor or whatever. But it would be nice just to slip on, some of the soft body armor and know that hey, if it came down to it, and somebody else had a gun out here, I'd be protected. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's lightweight, very discreet, right?
Hmm.
I could throw it under this, and it'll look like I'm wearing like an undershirt.
Hmm.
It doesn't protrude, and so the owner of that company, Drew, he was in the Secret Service, and he'd be put into situations,
Yeah.
right, to where he couldn't show that he was wearing body armor, and he'd wear nothing.
Yeah.
And so he did this for that level of protection. I mean, 90% of shootings are done with a pistol, right?
Hmm.
So soft body armor is a huge market. We will be going live to consumer very shortly after we get our number, but our main focus, from what you said earlier, is going to be government agencies. I mean, that's where the big money's at in that, instead
Yeah.
of
The
the
bigger
onesie
orders.
twosies. Hmm.
Yeah, I got somebody, a client that I want to connect you with. He does high-end security, and so he does it for government entities and everything. And so I think that'd be a great contact for you. But we'll jump on that after this. Um, okay, so the moving business. How and why did you get into it? You lost
Um,
audio.
no, I put it on mute. I had to talk to my manager real quick to keep it quiet in here
Oh,
before the
good.
circus comes into town. Um, so the moving business. Well, I worked for Costco Wholesale for about 6.5 years.
Hmm.
And then after that, for about a year, I kind of just did, odd jobs or this and that and side jobs. And um, so I was broke. I needed money. So I started moving furniture, right? And some of the hardest work you'll ever do, right, on a day-to-day basis. And but I was making good money doing it. I enjoyed it. It was kind of like a workout, right?
Yeah.
But I kept working for owners or operators of major van lines, um, and just they'd either not act with integrity,
Hmm.
not care about the customer, um, not pay their guys right. I had a guy that was shorting my checks, and he's actually still in business in the town we're in, right?
That's fun.
But he only has like one truck,
Yeah.
but um and so I stumbled into it, started moving furniture. I'm like, man, I could do this better, you know?
Hmm.
And I took my last check of like $600. I went and bought a couple dollies, some pads from Harbor Freight, some $10 Vistaprint business cards, and got my first job, and then started rolling it after that, right? Throwing all my money on pay-per-click ads and just getting my name out there,
Hmm.
charging nothing, right? Making nothing, and but you had to start somewhere, right? And I honestly miss those days, right? Because it's the exciting, like now it's more mental, right? And
Yeah.
you know just as well as I do that it's the mental game is a lot more tough on you, but that time was
Hmm.
really enjoyable. I kind of miss it a little bit, to be honest with you.
It was like, it was exciting. You were building, you were creating, and now all you're doing really is expanding on what you've already built, right? Like, you've got
Hmm.
a machine, you've got a system, a program, SOPs, all that good stuff in place. So it's now, how can I bump it 5%, 10%, 20%? You know what I'm saying? Versus getting to create again. And that's why we do what we do. And we always like, huh, I wonder if consulting would be fun. Let me try that for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's just part of it. But no, I love that story, because that's how so many great entrepreneurs start out. They see a need and they take action, right? I've heard it from my salespeople and some of my employees all the time. Like, I could do this better, or I could pay more, or I could, why can't we get this or that, or whatever the case is. And it's like, hey, if you want to, I'll set you up. You can do your own thing, and you can figure out how to do exactly what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? But you and I know that that's one out of 100 that will actually execute on it. The other ones will just complain and not actually follow through with it, which is great that you follow through, because now you have this thriving business, right? And so when we talk about your business now, what would you say was the thing that got you from where you were with the $10 Vista business cards to now having multiple trucks and being part of a major franchise like Mayflower?
Risk, if I were to sum it up in one word, right?
Hmm.
I mean, you got to have tenacity, drive, grit, all that fun stuff with it. But if you don't take the risk, right? I mean, I rented out my house and lived in a trailer for 2 years, right? So on my folks' property, so I can, you know, say put every last dollar into my business.
Hmm.
Um, but not a lot of people are willing to go through those hardships and what you have to do. I mean, I remember selling my truck, my pickup truck, my Tundra, the first Tundra I bought, um, and driving a car I could barely fit in, right? So I can get a down payment to get into a building to rent.
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of people won't do that. And that's why we're the 97% and eventually, or the 3%, excuse
Yeah.
me, and eventually the 1%, right?
No, I love it. And I love your first answer, which is risk. And that really is, that's the difference maker, right? And I think, for me as an entrepreneur, as I got further on my journey, I was 13 years into, building sales teams. And I think I was just missed that part of it, the risk. And so going into consulting now, taking that risk again, starting brand new from scratch has been interesting to say the least, but exciting again. All right, brother. So we would, it wouldn't be fair if we didn't talk about sales a little bit, right? And so I've I've had a few moving companies reach out and want to work on their sales program, and so I know a little bit, but kind of walk me through what that looks like for you guys. How are you getting the phones to ring, and how are you guys closing deals?
Well, a big thing for me was belly to belly marketing. I joined
Hmm.
the biggest BNI group in Southern California, which happens to be in my town. We have 75 members. I actually have my marketing manager in there now instead of me.
Hmm.
But a lot of belly to belly marketing. I utilized Facebook free groups big time, right? Because when you
Uh-huh.
have no freaking money and you need to have your phone ring, I'm like, oh, this Facebook thing, look, I can join this group and post my ad in here. And it worked really, really well. Now we do all kinds of stuff, man. You name it, from TV to radio to Google to, SEO, Facebook funnel. I have a Facebook funnels launching very soon. So I'm very excited about that. Um,
How is that going to work? The Facebook funnel. I'm interested in that.
so it's actually somebody from Apex,
Okay.
right? And so they're building it out, and it's going to be not just Facebook. I said that wrong. It's going to be all social media platforms.
Right. It's going to
And
push to the funnel. Beautiful.
And so Marv is automating everything together, so he can put an ad out there, and it's going to lead you into the funnel to get a free moving checklist, and then it's going to lead you to eventually book a time for an estimate, which
Mhm.
people can do it right there online. So he's going to connect it to where it goes right into my Mover Suite software
Beautiful.
and Quotes to Go, which is part of the Mayflower system. So he's been working with
Mhm.
Mayflower to tap into their API, and so then it'll go right on my estimator's calendar. You don't need that middle point of contact that can screw it
Right.
up or give the customer a wrong idea.
Hmm.
So, and it'll go right on their calendar. We'll do the estimate via virtual or in home, depends on the location and depends on the needs of the client.
Hmm.
And, but I'm really excited to see how it works. Right. So we'll test different funnels. And then
Yeah.
there's the cool thing is there's even follow-ups like after the move
Oh
to
yeah.
help, them get settled in. And
Mhm.
so that part of it, I'm really, really excited about. And then for cross country stuff, Mayflower has their own leads that I can purchase from them as
Right.
well. So like what it is with a growing
Hmm.
company. It's everything you can do. It's plug and play. I have mentors that have been, are running $20 million a year moving companies,
Hmm.
and um, most of them are actually just been around forever, man, and they just have organic referral business.
Yeah.
So that's how we're getting the phones to ring. But where you really come in and once the appointment's set and we do the in-home or the virtual, it's
Hmm.
it's really a sequence setup for us, right?
Okay.
Because movers aren't trusted, right? It's like a used car salesman or a real estate agent or you know,
I could see that a little bit just because of probably 70, 80% of the business is those rough around the edges guys that are actually doing the movie, right? And
mhm.
so I could see that a little bit. And then your name is John Ruff. So
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how many people said, "Oh, your moving company won't be successful with the last name Ruff in it." I go, "All right, I'll show you."
watch. Okay. So how do you overcome that? How do you overcome that stigma?
Yeah. So, okay. So we walk into the home, right, or even virtual, and being a good salesman, you relate to somebody right away,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's the dog, whether it's the sports poster on the wall, whether it's a trophy.
Hmm.
I'm a huge Dodger fan, right? So if I walk into a house and I see something Padres or Giants, and I go, "Sir, we can't do your move. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're a
You're
Giants fan."
disqualified.
You know, and then automatically, that wall is just down now.
Yeah.
You
All
know.
right, now we're gonna talk some shit and chop it up. Yeah.
Yep. And then you just go through a sequence, right? Um, and I learned this from Ryan actually.
Okay.
The first part of it is when you go in and you ask him, you go, "So why did you call me out here today?"
Hell yeah.
And they stop. Well, obviously because I need a freaking move, right? But it makes them think, and then they spill their guts about everything, their life story, all
Mhm.
that, and you just shut up and listen, right? And this is where most people kill the sale,
Yeah.
right? Because they want to sell, sell, sell and not listen to their needs.
Mhm.
So you just shut up and listen, right? Tailor any needs you can after they spill their guts. And then you go, okay, well, I'm going to do a full inventory item by item of everything. I'm going to be dead honest with you. If you have any questions, please ask me. And I
Mhm.
ask you to be dead honest with me so I can give you the most accurate quote. Then you hit them with, does that sound fair? Right? And
Mhm.
that word, does that sound fair? Automatically, oh, dude, this guy's going to be straight up with me.
Yeah.
We need to be honest with each other. And then that's it. And then after that, with a brand like Mayflower, um, it's trusted, so after
Mhm.
that it's really price is your biggest objection after you go through that script.
Right.
The it's just the objection is price, right? So to get their mind off of price, you give them the vision, right? What does the
Mhm.
vision look like? Say I'm moving you to Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
So
Don't be
I'll be
rude.
like, yeah, I'll be like, Chris, so you're going to Knoxville, Tennessee, man. So what's it look
Mhm.
like? Our moving truck's going to show up. You got that big Mayflower truck in front of the house.
Mhm.
We're unloading your goods. We're putting your beds together, setting up your appliances. What does that first day look like for you? And then you tug at the heartstrings. What does it look like for your family? Right? What are your kids going to do on that first day? Then all of a sudden they got the happy mojo going, right? They're getting excited now. And then you're going through the inventory as you're doing it.
Yeah.
And then they're all excited. Their mind is off price now.
Yeah.
You got them excited about why the hell you're out there. You know, instead of the stress. Moving is the third most stressful thing in someone's life, next to death of a loved one and divorce. Moving's number 3. So you get their mind off the stress, you get them excited, and you get their mind off the price, and then you close, right? So my team can put, you know, a booker adjustment on it, right? And they get 50% of that. So anything above and beyond Mayflower's rates, if they add that to the job. So I'll tell them, you know, put $1,000 or $2,000 on there, right? You know, and then if your call to action or your close is, you know, I'll take 500 off, just sign right now.
Yeah.
And then all the objections come in, right? Let me talk to your wife. And I'll be like, well, put your wife at ease. Just get this on the books, man. So you guys aren't stressed out about it. You can cancel anytime.
Right.
Because as soon as we walk out that door, our closing rate goes down about 30%. Right?
Absolutely.
You got to close right there. Right? You go from about a 60% close when you get it on site and down to about a 30, which is still really good. And that's because our reputation is good and the Mayflower brand is good as well. But you know, any other company that's independent, like we were for 10 years, we didn't join Mayflower until last year. And it's very hard to close after that, right? Because then they're shopping around, people are feeding them a bunch of BS when you've been honest with them. And it's very difficult if you don't get them to sign in-house.
All right, guys, you just got whether you know it or not, you know, take out moving and put in your product, and you just got a sales training on how to properly close. 100%. That is exactly how I would structure it. The only difference was up until 2 years ago, I didn't ask that first question, which was, why am I here? Why are we on the phone? Why are we together? Right. So mine was more geared towards the product. It was like, you know, why are you interested in this? You know what I'm saying? So I was still doing the catch process, you know, that Ryan has put out there. But I feel like with that first question, the way that you phrase it, like, why are we here? Or why are we on the phone today? You know what I'm saying? It really makes them go deep versus just saying, I need a moving company. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to deal with this shit. You know what I'm saying? That would be my first answer, right? And so I appreciate you walking us through that, because I do. I think we forget with all the crap that's out there now, you know, and it's not crap. It is really good stuff. But I think it makes a 1, 2, 3% difference when we're talking about products like home services, because you just need to train your guys to follow a simple structure and to execute the play. You know what I'm saying? And from there, you know, once you get that foundation and they do $100,000, you know what I'm saying? Then we can start talking about the NLP and NELQP and all the different acronyms and everything, you know what I'm saying? And all that fun stuff. But I think the biggest thing is that they just be themselves. Now, on the wife objection, I don't know if you guys use this or not, but my favorite thing to do with the wife is kind of like your crystal ball close. You talked about like painting that picture. You can do the same thing with the wife. Like, hey, do you think she's going to be super upset when she comes home and not only did you get the movers checked off the checklist of all the crap you got to do and she's got on her shoulders and she's got work and everything else to do, you knock that out for her. How do you think she's going to feel after that? And then when y'all get to your new home and your kids just get to go out in the backyard and play for a little bit and they don't have to worry about moving 3 or 4 hours of boxes in, how do you think she's going to feel about that? Right? Yeah. And so I always like to bring the wife into the conversation without bringing the wife into the conversation, you know? And there's a few other ones that we like to do too. It's like, well, absolutely. Let's get her on the phone. You know, just go straight to the objection. You know, let's get her on the phone. Where does she work? Is she able to answer phone calls? You know what I'm saying? And then the last one is, what do you think your wife would say if she were here? Again, bring her into the conversation and then overcome whatever objection he's got for her. And then close with, how do you think she'd feel when she comes home and you've taken care of all this for her and probably saved yourselves $1,000 because we're getting it done today?
Yeah, I think Dad's getting some tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And depending on the first rapport building that you did, you may be able to say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Now you're teaching husbands how to close, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so walk her through this process, John. That's awesome. That's
Oh, I love
awesome.
it.
That's what's up. Okay. So, just for some practical advice, right? Uh, not where are you guys located, first of all? It's California and where else?
We're our headquarters is in Temecula, right?
Okay.
Which is right in between San Diego and LA, Temecula,
Okay.
California.
Okay.
And then we have a small location in San Diego and a small little hub in Vegas.
Nice.
Um, but mostly we're a mobile business, man. So I have semi trucks and trailers all over the country,
Okay.
right? Um, we're up to 10 drivers over the road now. And then
Hmm.
we have a few that run just Western 11, like Texas West. And then a couple local, and these are all owner operator contractors. And then
Beautiful.
we have about 15 to 20 local movers. During summer, we'll bump up to about 30.
Yeah.
Um, and then, of course, sales team, office staff, all that.
Awesome. Badass. So for our listeners that aren't in one of your areas, what can they do to avoid being ripped off by a moving company?
Whew. I get these calls every day, man.
Hmm.
People crying their eyes out. Um, you know, Look up. Is there like a chat, or I could just say it?
Yeah, you can just say it.
If you
And
go
we'll
into
we'll include it in
Google,
the show notes.
yeah, if you go into Google and just type in safer
Hmm.
DOT, it'll pop up fmcsa.dot. I think .gov, something like that. But just type in
Hmm.
Google safer DOT, and it'll come up. Click on company snapshot, type that company's name in there, and see if they're a licensed carrier, right?
Hmm.
If nothing pops up, run, right? If they're a licensed broker, a lot of people like in certain things like loans or real estate brokers are good, right? And moving
Yeah.
brokers are bad. These are people that will, they'll set up a job with you over the phone, right?
Hmm.
They'll be like, "Oh, Mr. Mitchell, I can move you from, Texas to Florida, and it's going to be $5,000, when really that move should be about $13,000, $14,000, right?"
Hmm.
And then they'll sell it to a company, right? Um, that'll show up and they'll be like, "Well, you have more weight than this," right? And they'll tell you that after they have your crap on the truck.
Gotcha.
Excuse me, it's household goods, not crap.
Right.
Um, and they'll be like, "Well, now your bill's going to be, $18,000, or you're not going to get your stuff." Right? Well, what if you don't have the extra 13 grand? You know what I mean? What do you do? Your
It's
whole life's
insane.
in that truck. Your kids' baby pictures, all your wife's precious belongings, right? All your furniture, beds,
Hmm.
mattress, I mean, it's so, and that's why we get a bad rap, right?
Yeah.
It's because of companies like that, and then just independent haulers. Like when I was an independent hauler for 10 years, I didn't take one load from a broker. All the work I did was the work I went and got, you know,
Hmm.
and because it's just shady. These guys just want to collect a 20% deposit on that 5 grand, sell the job to somebody, and be like, later, you think they're gonna pick up their phone? So, but that website's for cross country
Okay.
moving. So if you're moving across state lines, that's the Federal Licensing Board. FMCSA stands for Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, better
Hmm.
known as the DOT, or Department of Transportation.
Okay.
And then on the local level, say you're moving locally, right? You're staying within the same state.
House to house. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. And then you just look up, moving companies, state licensing. For us, it's the Department of Consumer Affairs in California,
Hmm.
Bureau of Household Goods and Services. It used to be the Public Utilities Commission. It just depends on the governing body of your state.
Okay.
And then you could look it up. For us, shoot, I don't have the website off the top of my head, but
Hmm.
just type in, look up a moving company's license in California or in Texas or in
Right.
Florida, and then it'll lead you to do it. Just click license search and type in either their license number or
Hmm.
their company name. And just to let you know, about 60% of the actual moving companies are operating without a license.
Wow. Yeah, I did not know that.
Mhm.
So you're in California, and one of the things that I see in Texas is like tons and tons of Californians moving to Texas. You know, Austin is gone. That that dark space in the Lion King, we don't go there. You know what I'm saying? That is what Austin is, 100%. Like I go around Austin. I take a road that I have to pay for to go around Austin, right? And so why do you think that's happening? Why do you think there's this big and it's great for your business, right? Because
Yeah.
it's all the tech moguls and the tech companies and stuff like that. They're all moving to Texas and Florida and some different states. I think New Mexico is a new hub. Utah is another hub that's happening a lot. Why is that? Do you think?
Politics,
Hmm.
taxes, cost of living. I mean, shoot, our governor has been my top salesman for the past 5 years. You know what I mean? I don't know whether to punch him in the face or buy him a beer. Um, and but it's just you go to big cities like San Diego right down the street, or LA, and you got human feces on the sidewalk and
Yeah.
tent city everywhere, and it's really crappy, man. You know
Hmm.
what's happening to the state. It's been really good for my business. I mean, last week we did, I think, 16 loads moving out.
Wow.
um the hot spot right now has been South Carolina, North Carolina, because what happened is Texas, well, certain parts of Texas because it's so big, right?
Hmm.
Uh, Tennessee, Florida, Idaho, um, their prices for homes are more than California right now in certain areas.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I can see that.
Texas, if you go out in the sticks or whatever, right? It's of
Yeah.
course you're still going to get a good deal, but South Carolina is very beautiful. The prices of homes are still way down. I don't think for long, but Tennessee was a huge push last year, and this year we're just seeing a lot of the Carolinas, Virginia, Oklahoma,
Hmm.
and then if they lean a little bit more towards the left side of the scale on the political spectrum, then
Yeah.
they're going
So
up
they're
to
still in a safe
Washington,
space.
Oregon, Colorado,
Yeah.
right? I mean, Portland's a crap hole right now.
Yeah.
Um, but it just depends. They're not really going to the Northeast. They're not really going to
Hmm.
Chicago, New York, none of that, but they're going everywhere else, man. Just out of California.
Yeah. And you're probably one of the first business owners I've talked to. When you think about your business, California is a great place to be. For most business owners, it's not, right? I mean, you can't really hire contractors, right? You're going to pay a ridiculous amount in taxes and all these initiatives they're doing at the local level and stuff like that you're going to get taxed on. But in your case, it's like, well, as long as they keep pushing those kind of politics, you'll keep getting more and more clients.
Yeah, and I mean it also depends, man, right? With the economy kind of doing a little soft landing, winding back a
Hmm.
little bit, right? So we
Yeah.
don't go into a recession or a depression, right? That's why
Mhm.
interest rates are jacked up, so they just had to slow it down, right? But
Yeah.
people are being more thrifty, they're being more conservative, right? So
Hmm.
we offer cool options. Like we'll do we have a company that'll finance the move for you, and
Oh,
then we
cool.
also
Yeah.
will bill through escrow too. So if you're selling
Hmm.
your home out in California that's priced ridiculously high, right? And then we can just bill through escrow. So it's great for the client. They don't have to come out of pocket. It's guaranteed money for us as a company because it's in writing from the escrow
Yeah.
company. And it
And you get
just
it. You,
give people the option to get a really great move for that's not cheap, right?
right.
But they can break it up or not have the stress and have it come out of the equity of their home.
No, that's awesome. And you get a check from the loan company. Is that how that works?
Yeah. So we'll send a letterhead to the escrow company, say,
Hmm.
Mr. Mitchell is requesting for us to build the home out of escrow. Please send us a letter with your letterhead confirming that the estimate amount will be billed through escrow and a check will be cut once escrow is closed to Ruff Ready
Jeez.
Moving.
Yeah, and that's the best way to do it because it's from you're lending against yourself essentially. But provided your home loan's only 4 or 5%, it's gonna be a lot cheaper than a credit card. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
no, that's awesome. Okay, so what's next for you guys? Or I should really say for you. Obviously you're getting Have you been a business coach for a while now, or is that a new venture for you?
It's a new venture, right?
Mhm.
People have been calling me, asking, saying, "Yeah, oh, hey, John, give me some advice on this." And I'm like, "Well, shit, I
Can I
might as
pick your
well get
brain?
paid for it, right?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I've lost a ton of money learning this knowledge and going through mistakes and,
Hmm.
taking a $50,000 loss here, $100,000 loss here,
Yeah.
$10,000 loss here. I'm like, well, shoot, let me educate these guys so they don't have to do that loss, but they're going to pay me for it.
And then maybe make up some of those losses.
Yeah. Hey, now.
Well, and then you and I, you know, I know I did six figures in development education last year between the masterminds and the events and stuff. So I imagine you're in that same wheelhouse last year and this year. So um, may as well get reimbursed a little bit, you know what I'm saying, of all the things that we're learning. So,
Yeah, that's how I feel it, right? Like, getting into those higher level rooms, right? It's pay to play when you get there, right? Because all these
mhm.
people lost a ton of money or invested a ton of money to get coached on it. And if you're going to ask them for advice, they're going to get paid for it. So I kind of took that from Apex and
Mhm.
I'm like, well, shoot, I'll have my office slap some things together, put it
Mhm.
online, and I have a ton of value to offer in this industry, right?
Hell yeah.
I mean, you go through the hard times, but you learn from it, right?
Mhm.
So share that so the next moving company owner doesn't have to go through that. And they just have to cut me a check for about 10% of what they would have lost anyway.
Right. No, I love it, and that's one thing that happened to me when I first got into Apex too. I think it really does a great job of shining that light on, you know, I guess monetizing your knowledge, right? And so a lot of the other executives kept asking me like, "How are you doing this? You know, how are you able to scale your sales team? How are you able to train them for quality sales versus quantity? You know?"
Mhm.
And they kept asking me these questions over and over again, and then eventually, I hopped on a plane with Ryan to go do a consulting with one of his clients, and I was like, "Oh, this is it!" Like,
Yeah.
I just freaking opened up their sales division. You know what I mean? I just did it as part of one of those what do you call it? What do they call it? PJ trips that he puts on. You know what I'm saying? So I just did it for free, essentially,
Mhm.
and I really enjoyed it. You know, and so then I put together my program after that, and now I'm full time consulting. So who knows? John may have a 8 figure exit and then be a full time consultant after that. We'll see.
Yeah, we're not that big yet. We did a little over 4 last year.
Hmm.
This year, my goal is 6. And I think that was conservative. I want to crush it. I think we're gonna do closer to 7. Um, it depends. I'll tell you how these social media funnels work,
Yeah.
um, and Neil is teaching me some really cool stuff too, man. Me and him have become buddies, and teaching me some cool stuff about Google. And he has nothing but great things to say about you.
Oh, I appreciate that. No, Neil is a freaking he's a sleeper. Like when he talks to everybody and executives, he doesn't really tell you until we get deep into the conversation. He's like, "Oh yeah, I can blow your marketing up if I wanted
Yeah, and it's
to."
like, well, dude, why
Hey.
did you say something?
And he's like, "Oh, I've got my own $10 million turf company to run. Sorry." Are you just teasing me?
Dude, he's at like 20.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Y-
definitely trending to get there. No, we've been working together for a couple months now, and it's been fantastic. I've learned just as much from him as he is from me, so I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah,
Okay.
he goes to like SEO masterminds and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And I mean, again, you're gonna pay to play,
Yeah.
right? When you get to that higher level, it's just easier that way, right? Because when you walk into a room, like when I
Hmm.
walk into a room with guys like you and other monsters in the room, it's like, what the hell value can I offer you? Right? You've already went through the knowledge and the hardships that I haven't been through yet.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, here you go. It's pay to play.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And but the exciting part is, like you just said, you realize, oh shit, I do have a ton of value to offer. Oh
Yeah.
shit, like it turns out I'm an expert in this section. You know what I mean? And we all need it. We all need it. You know. All right, brother. So last question, and this is a little more personal, a little more intense. Um, what does legacy mean to you, and what legacy do you want to leave behind?
Well, legacy, we can make all the money in the world, right? Um, You can't take it with you. I can't put it in one of my moving trucks and haul it behind me, right? Behind my casket. I want to leave an impact on the world, man. I want to change future generations. I want them to, be able to live a better life because of what we did, right? And it could be one Facebook post away, and it could be what we're building over the next 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And legacy is the most important thing going for me, right? And what my drive, I want my people to be inspired. I want my staff to buy homes, and I want my single moms to feed their kids and pay their bills. And that's what's important to me, man, because I can go make money doing anything, right? We're both good at sales. We can both make money doing anything. We can go get a $100,000 to $300,000 dollar a year job selling whatever the heck we want to sell. Right? It's not about the money. It's about growth and people for me. And that's the impact I want to leave. And more so doing it on a broad scale now with the consulting side of things. So teaching other leaders to teach their people, so it has a ripple effect. And that's what it means to me. And that's what's honestly important to me.
Man, I've been workshopping this legacy idea for a long time now, over 165 episodes, right? And I've done a few talks on it. And there's something that you said that was unique out of everything. You said it was one Facebook post away or 30 years of work we're going to do at this company. And I think that's incredibly important that you said that, because you never know, like, your post about putting yourself out there may inspire someone tomorrow, and they may build $100 million company. You know what I'm saying? Far beyond what we could ever do personally. But here's the hard pill to swallow. Nobody may ever know it was you that inspired it. But there is one person that would know, And so whatever you believe, that higher power, think about that. Like, they're the only ones that are going to see the actual ripple of the good and impact you made in the world. The full ripple, right? We all have an idea of our ripple, but he is the only one that can really see it.
And that's all that matters, man. Right? The Bible says, what you do in public and in private will be seen. Right? And it's just having that integrity, right? Because when you're getting kicked in the nuts in business, and then you got to get on there and be positive and do an inspirational or motivational post or this or that, so what? You're also affirming it to yourself. You have a duty to do that. This is what you signed up for as a business owner, right? If not, go flip burgers at McDonald's, bro, or go check receipts at Walmart. I want to live my life on full and die empty, brother. I don't want it to be the other way around.
Hell yeah. I love it. John, I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your knowledge with us, and some of the stories along the way, as well as the experiences and the lessons. Thank you so much, brother.
You got it, my brother. Thanks so much for having me, man.
All right, guys, let's get building.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Building Great Sales Teams podcast. We really do appreciate it. As you know, we believe that great leaders build great teams. How do you become a great leader? You learn from the greats. Join us at the $1 Million Mastermind put on by Ryan Stewman in Frisco, Texas, and learn everything that you need to learn to be that great leader. The link will be in the description below. As always, we ask that you like, share, and subscribe wherever you consume podcasts so you can stay up to date with the Building Great Sales Teams podcast. Let's get building.